Overview of what is cerebral palsy all about. Cerebral palsy is a group of disorder that affects a person's ability to move and maintain balance and posture. The word cerebral means having to do with the brain. Meanwhile, palsy means weakness or problems with using the muscles. So, cerebral palsy is caused by the abnormal brain development or the damage to the developing brain that affects a person's ability to control his or her muscles. So, there are four types of cerebral palsy. First is the spastic cerebral palsy. Means their muscles are stiff and as a result their movements can be very awkward. Second is the dyskinetic cerebral palsy, means they have problems in controlling their hands, arm, feet, legs, making it very difficult for them to sit and walk. Third is the atasic cerebral palsy, means they have problems with balance and coordination. And lastly is the mixed cerebral palsy. It's a mix of spastic and the dyskinetic cerebral palsy. So there are classifications of cerebral palsy. First is the classification based on the severity level, topographical distribution, motor function, and on the gross motor function classification system. When you say classification based on the severity level, there are mild, moderate, severe, and no cerebral palsy. Classification on topographical distribution, there is paresis means weakened, and plagia or the plegic means paralyzed. And when you say classification based on motor function, there is spastic cerebral palsy and the non-spastic cerebral palsy, wherein there are two terms used to describe muscle tones, which is the hypertonia and the hypotonia. So that's it.
Cerebral palsy is the most common motor disability in childhood. Cerebral palsy is more common among boys than among girls. The major sign or symptom of cerebral palsy is the variations in muscle tone, such as being either too stiff or too floppy. Over 58.2% of children identified with cerebral palsy could walk independently. %50 of cerebral palsy cases are related to prenatal causes. 33% of cerebral palsy cases are related to birth causes. 10% of cerebral palsy cases are caused by postnatal trauma.
Teachers need to make sure all children get a full educational experience and have every opportunity to participate, learn, and grow. Although teachers understand this responsibility, they don't always have the knowledge or experience, especially working with particular disabilities like cerebral palsy. Every teacher can use advice and tips to help them build and create more inclusive learning experiences. So this is the summary of the teaching strategies from cerebral palsy from my facilitation. So get to know the needs of every student, assign seating instead of asking volunteers, call on students randomly, provide group discussion time, use personal responsive devices, expose students to diversity, vary teaching strategies, make classroom physically accessible, provide inclusive playgrounds, be proactive and active about bullying, combat discriminatory language immediately, provide choice in sports and recreation, communicate with parents and practice collaborative teaching. And for the classroom accommodations and modifications for cerebral palsy, I've discussed in my facilitation about the need to consider seating positions and duration, create plenty of space for movement, consider putting pictures, make use of the aid, and prepare a fire drill plan for the student, and also the use of assistive technologies.
Summary of assistive technologies are instructional materials. Assistive technology is a broad term that includes any device or piece of equipment that can be used to help a person perform some type of activity or improve their ability to function. So, how children can benefit from technology? So, here are the examples. Mobility technology that holds great promise for helping disabled individuals gain more mobility is called functional electrical stimulation. Technology for communication. It can also create difficulty forming words and also make them social with others. Typing and writing devices. Example is hearing aids. Technology to help with daily activities. So here are the examples, and I hope you have learned something. Thank you.